Hi there, this is Celise and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to look at how I made my painting entitled Botanical Vibes. To start out, I needed a blue background and I wanted to experiment with actually blending on the canvas as opposed to blending different color blues to the side on a palette beforehand. I must say this was a bit challenging as I had not blended directly on a canvas in quite some time. For this, I am just using some acrylic paint, Master Touch acrylic paints to be specific, and doing my best to create a nice blended blue background. I wanted to make sure that I had light blues as well as dark blues. Next, I needed to go in with my Posca paint pen and add in the shapes that I was going to fill in later. So I decided to go ahead and draw these out first instead of just kind of winging it when I got to the painting part, just so I would have an idea of how I wanted the shapes to intertwine together. When I do these kind of paintings, I like to make sure that they kind of go behind each other, in front of each other. Before I wanted to add all the colors that would be in the vines, I decided to go ahead and start with a white base coat. And it looked pretty splotchy at first, which was fine because I knew I was going to go in with a second coat. As you can see, once I applied the second coat of white, it got rid of most of the splotchiness and then prepared it so that I could add in another layer of color or a glaze. I decided for this one, I wanted kind of a mauve or a pinkish purplish color. And so this I had to experiment a little bit, but I was pretty happy with how it came out. For the other vines, I wanted to have a blue kind of cast on them, so I used a glaze for those. Here I'm just adding in a little bit of a deeper red on top of the mauve, and then switched over to adding a little bit of white so that we'd have some lighter areas. At first I was going to do the black details with a paintbrush and just black acrylic paint, but I decided to go ahead and use my black Posca marker so that I could have a little bit more control over the thickness of the lines and just how they laid on top of the painted vines. So here I'm just going around and outlining each of the vines. And then a little bit later, I would go in and fill in some accent marks on each of the vines just to kind of tie it all together. One of the things that I think about when I'm doing something like this, adding accent marks, is just kind of trying to find the right place to put each mark. For me, at least, it's not completely random. I do want them to flow together in a good way. The final step was to use my white Posca marker and go in and create just some kind of highlighted lines between each of the shapes. And I decided to do this just to make the shapes pop out a little bit more and just make the whole picture pop a little bit, at least in my opinion. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. And here's the Botanical Vibes. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can get this particular painting at my website or at my Etsy store. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.